What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kim, and in this video I'm gonna talk about the 5 reasons why I kinda regret buying my M1 MacBook Pro and all the issues I've encountered over the last 5 months of owning it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Reason number 1 might be a little nitpicky, but I'm really disappointed with M1's performance when using Google Chrome or a Brave browser. Now, to give you some context, I built a Hackintosh in 2019 with an i9-9900K processor and 64GB of RAM, and it's running macOS Big Sur 11.0.1. Real quick, if you don't know what a Hackintosh is, it's basically a custom PC with macOS installed. Why are we doing that? Well, maybe because not everyone can afford a Mac Pro. Anyway, now if I launch the Brave browser, which is my most frequently used browser, and go to youtube.com, you can see the CPU usage is really high. And if I open multiple tabs simultaneously, it gets even higher. And the RAM usage gets pretty high as well. But if I do the same thing on my Hackintosh, the difference in performance is night and day. Not to mention, it's so much clunkier on the M1 MacBook Pro, even for just a simple web browsing experience. I tried switching to Google Chrome and the experience is very similar, if not worse. And I'm well aware of the new Safari browser and how well it works with macOS Big Sur and M1 Macs, but unfortunately, there aren't many extensions supported in Safari as of now, so I just can't make it my primary browser at the moment. Now, I know it's inappropriate to compare a laptop to a PC tower and compare 16GB to 64GB of RAM. Still, if you look at the benchmarks that every tech YouTuber is talking about, the M1 Mac's single-core performance is so much higher than the iMac 27-inch 2019, which has a pretty similar spec to my Hackintosh. And if we look at the multi-core performance, the iMac 27-inch 2019 is higher, but those M1 Macs aren't actually that far behind. So theoretically, the difference in real-life experience shouldn't be that drastic, right? Anyway, I did some searches online and couldn't find anyone talking about this issue. So I don't know if this is a particular case that only happens to me. Maybe the M1 MacBook Pro I got is faulty, I don't know. But in hindsight, had I known about this issue, I wouldn't have bought the M1 MacBook Pro in the first place. Many M1 Mac owners have reported sleep issues with external displays, but it seems like it doesn't happen to everyone. And even in my case, it doesn't happen every time. But when it does happen, after I put the MacBook to sleep, it doesn't turn off the monitor and I'll have to turn it off manually. That's actually not a big issue. The problem is, after I turn off the monitor and the MacBook goes into a deep sleep, it sleeps really deeply. To wake it up, sometimes I have to unplug and replug the power cable until something appears on the screen. Again, not a deal breaker, but it's kind of frustrating. As you can see, I'm using a 49-inch super ultra-wide monitor from Samsung. The model number is CRG9 and it can support up to 5120 by 1440 resolution. Some people have problems getting the maximum resolution on a super ultra-wide monitor like this, which is 5120 by 1440 with their M1 Max. But I bought a USB-C to DisplayPort cable from Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below. And I was able to get maximum resolution without any problems. However, I had always used the 3840 by 1080 resolution with my Hackintosh on this monitor because the texts were much crispier. And when I tried to switch to that resolution on M1 MacBook Pro, I could only get a non-HD resolution, which looks terrible. I haven't found a solution to this day, but over time I've gotten used to the 5120 by 1440 resolution, although I had to increase the size of the text pretty much everywhere. The lack of ports is actually not a massive problem for my current needs. I've been stuck at home for the past few months due to country lockdown, so I don't need those extra ports since I have my MacBook connected to the OWC Thunderbolt 3 dock. But coming from the 2017 MacBook Pro, which had 4 ports, it feels like by upgrading to the M1 MacBook Pro, I'm actually downgrading. Does that make sense? And finally, reason number 5 is the fact that I just can't go out. I chose the MacBook Pro instead of the Mac Mini because it's portable and I can easily unplug it from the external monitor if I wanted to go out. But with the current situation of COVID in Malaysia, I don't think I could go out and spend time at coffee shops anytime soon. I mean, even if I can, the risk is so much greater than the reward. And by the time COVID is over, Apple may have released M1X or M2 or whatever it might be, and I believe this M1 MacBook Pro may have been outdated. But with all that being said, if you noticed at the beginning of this video, I mentioned I kinda regret buying this M1 MacBook Pro. Well, that's because I'm not entirely regretting it. I mean, it's still an excellent laptop, especially compared to my previous MacBook, and when you're on the go, you pretty much don't have many other options other than carrying a laptop, right? So what I'm trying to say is, it's an outstanding and efficient laptop, and if you have always been a laptop user, you are going to love it. But if you have used any powerful Hackintosh or computer workstation, and you pretty much always work in a stationary environment, at least for now, you might find this M1 Mac's performance a little underwhelming. Wrapping up this video, if you're currently on the verge of buying an M1 Mac, I say just wait until the end of the year and see what new models Apple rolled out. Patience is always a virtue. So that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button below and subscribe for more videos like this. And until next time, take care.